Hi everyone, I'm Jarrett. I'm the head of business development at Delenta, and today we're lucky enough to speak to Ollie from Apex Digital. So Ollie's been working on behalf of Viaggio Property Hub to set up their Delenta process and everything like that. So Ollie, great to be here. How's things going? You all good?
Yeah, pretty good, mate. Thank you.
Yeah,
Great to be here. Really excited.
yeah, that's right. It's a good thing to chat about. So I'm keen. Would you be able to tell us first off just a bit about your role and with Viaggio Property Hub and what you were tasked to do?
Yeah, so I'm a director of Apex, a company called Apex Digital, and we help businesses elevate themselves through technology. And I was brought in to Viaggio to help basically do a tech audit of their business and help them refine how they were doing things in terms of their IT, their website, all their web design stuff, and also to help with their coaching program.
Right.
Yeah, at the time they had a coaching program, but it was in terms of the administration and the customer experience, it was incredibly disjointed and very, very anyway, yeah.
Yeah, as you can imagine, we come across that a lot. We're seeing people that haven't really taken that step into the digital world as yet, and they're working on very analog style systems.
Yes.
So really, I suppose it's a matter of going in and finding those pain points and seeing how you can streamline those things. So what sort of challenges did you find? What were they facing before they started using Delenta?
Well, everything was completely disjointed. So they had a number of different systems, and none of them talked to each other. And then the customer experience, it would be sort of logging into Zoom to do the video, but then they would get sent spreadsheets and documents separately via email. Stuff was getting lost, missed. WhatsApp was even being used. And it was just all over the place in terms of, how they communicated with the student. And then the internal admin, no one really knew where anything was. Stuff was just on, spreadsheets and documents, and it was just, and then there was no automation between the systems. So when a coaching client came in, they weren't sort of automatically tagged in their email list as a client. So they were still being emailed sales emails when they should have been moved to another level in terms of what they were receiving. And then, just keeping track of basic things like payments and stuff like that, when the student had paid, how much the student had paid, their tasks and their goals. It was all just very disjointed. And it was cool. Yeah, they wanted to focus on the coaching and looking after the client and actually giving them the value, but they were actually having to focus on all the administration behind that, which,
so they were spinning plates.
Yes. Yeah. Lots of plates spinning, falling off, nothing connected. It was.
Yeah, once you're in that world where you're relying on spreadsheets and then separately on emails and then separately on all sorts of different aspects, it's very tricky.
And
no matter how good you are, there's going to be things that go wrong, right?
Exactly, and it's not actually uncommon with smaller businesses for that to be the case, just because you're so focused on actually doing what the business owner enjoys, which is doing the coaching, going out in Viaggio's. From Viaggio's point of view, going out to properties, investing, talking to people, developing projects, coaching. It was, they didn't have the time to then come down and be right, I need to do a whole audit of my tech and make sure that it's all functioning together. In this day and age, bringing someone in to do that can actually, it doesn't take very long, B, it's not very expensive, and C, it gives you so many opportunities to grow your business.
Yeah, that's right. Because once the admin becomes too cumbersome and all of a sudden you're sitting doing hours and hours of admin and trying to figure out where things went wrong, instead of just focusing on progressing things forward and the coaching, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I suppose that comes down to a business level. So I suppose all that admin was affecting the business in a number of ways as well. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, it was stopping them from growing. They could get to a certain level with the coaching, in terms of how many clients they had, but then it just got too much. And as they also had other businesses they work in, it was just the coaching sort of reached a plateau and couldn't expand any further. And they were just they also they were getting fed up with having to use all these different systems, which you do use with Delenta, but Delenta brings it all into one place. So you can just use the Delenta platform rather than having to go into every single other place to actually look for the information. It's all in Delenta platform, and then you can ping it out to other places. So they were just a bit lost there, and they knew they could grow it. They were getting clients. They knew that there was a good opportunity there. They just couldn't take advantage of it at that time.
Yeah, because once your programs start to suffer, that can really affect your client retention and all sorts of issues like that. So I'm sure they were keen to get those problems all fixed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's a good background as to what you were tasked to do and what problems need fixed. I suppose into the process of things. So as far as discovering Delenta, how did that sort of come about, and what made you decide to try it out?
Oh yeah, it was in a job I used to work in, and actually we had brought in a coach to help us with some mindset stuff, and she was sharing her screen, and I distinctly remember her talking about Delenta and the coaching program. She was showing how she manages her coaches and stuff like that, and that was about a year or so ago, maybe a year, 2 years ago, and then I was sat there, and then Jeff, the co-owner of Viaggio, was like, look, we need to get a system that can, do A, B, and C and help with the coaching and stuff. And he was thinking of using another platform, which wouldn't have been suitable. It would have been very much a fudge. And I remembered the name Delenta, and I Googled it, realized it was real. I hadn't made it up. And then was looking through all the system, all the platform, everything it had. And I was like, this is perfect. This literally has everything. It's like it was built for coaches,
Yeah, that's right.
It was like everything Jeff needed, tick. And I was like, okay, right, we've got something here.
Oh, good. So as far as that process, and I mean, what were the main factors that sort of drew you to a decision to choose Delenta? Is there anything in particular?
Yeah, there was a number. I mean, the main one was having everything all in one place. So it integrates through Zapier and also its own integrations, so many different platforms. So even if it wasn't an integration that it had within the system, you could connect it to something else via Zapier or Zapier, which for me in IT is just makes everything super simple. Also for the coaches, it was being able to manage the student in there, manage their goals, manage their tasks, manage their package as well, understand where they were in their package, how much they'd been paid, how far they were in it, because they do a lot of their coaching is based on a subscription model. So they needed to see what being paid every month. And within Delenta, you can see all that information. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And then and also the ability to generate leads. So having the calendar in there and the free, being able to create a free 30-minute call, which is what they do, and just being able to ping that calendar link out and then also embed it onto websites, because they're part of a lot of Facebook groups and WhatsApp groups as well, where they just ping that link out. And we also send out a lot of emails. So all that stuff was just great. And then on top of that, which was something we weren't actually aware of at the beginning, was the team coaching, which we sort of got by accident. And once we delved into that, we realized it'd be really smooth and easy to create a whole team, which is again something they want to do to expand. And it took away just so much. All these other platforms just sort of either disappeared or would work, or we could work from Delenta to use them, like Zoom. You can set up the appointment within Delenta. You can choose the time, the place, whatever, and then it automatically, because it's integrated into Zoom, it'll automatically create a Zoom appointment. And then you can also go into that Zoom appointment from Delenta. So you don't need to log into Zoom. The Zoom takes a step back and you can just manage it all from Delenta, which just...
Right. You've got one tab open instead of 7.
Yeah, yes, that is exactly it.
No, that's right. I mean, I can see how everything there is effective, from just the basic, landing pages through to the notes and the shared notes and the tasks and everything like that, right through to automated payments and group and team coaching, things like that. So yeah, that's a good overall feel of what Delenta brings. So you made the decision, you went with Delenta. and then you went through basically your onboarding and implementation and everything. So talk us a bit through that process. I mean, how'd that go for you? How did you find things as far as getting onboarded and implemented?
Well, I mean, Viaggio wanted to take a step back and focus on their business. So they asked me basically, can you set this up? Can you make sure everything's ready? Set up the landing page, set up all the links, set up into all the integrations, create the packages within Delenta, and basically learn everything and then teach us how to use it, which is basically what happened. So I went in, learned everything, figured out how to do it, just built the system for Viaggio. So what they needed, I utilized. And then when that was ready, and after a few, obviously we had some review sessions where I spoke about what I was doing, and they said yay or nay or had their own input, but they weren't doing the actual stuff themselves because they didn't want to focus on that. They wanted to focus on continuing to build the business and the coaching. So after that, we got it signed off, and then I went through a period of teaching them how to actually use the system, which didn't take very long and was a mixture of sort of live training, and then I recorded all that, so they had a bank of videos that they could just watch as and when they needed to. It was like from a technical point of view, the system is easy to set up. Like there's lots of moving parts, lots of things you have to consider, but it is easy to set up. It's all very intuitive. It does what you want it to do. So if you think, oh, this should do this, it does. And also the support, I must say, I have to say the support, the chat support and stuff like that is superb. And the booklet, like if you are doing it yourself, the PDF booklet that you guys supply is just, one-stop shop. Like just follow right. That book, you'll set up Delenta. But yeah, it's so that Viaggio didn't want to do that. They wanted someone else to do it and manage it for them, which is what I did.
Yeah, that's super. It's probably a good match there because we've got all our resources as well, and then you were able to put everything together for them to just do a nice, easy onboarding for them as well. So yeah, that all went smoothly, did it? Everyone found it quite sort of easy to get a hold of.
Yeah, like I thought it went really smoothly. We actually got it set up way quicker than I thought we would, and we had coaches. We had clients coming in within a couple of weeks, which was really, really good. We had clients coming through the system, following the student journey, and then Debbie and Jeff, who were the coaches, were able to utilize Delenta and actually manage everything from Delenta, which I didn't think was going to happen for a while. I thought it'd be because they're a bit technophobic, which is fine. Their focus is on something else. They're really good at other things, So, but yeah, they were able to get to grips with it really quickly, which was awesome.
I mean, change is hard, isn't it?
Yes.
Change is a tricky thing. I mean, some people might have tricky systems, but because they still know how to do it, they're very resistant to change to get that thing happening. Whereas as soon as they do it, they realize how many hours and everything you can save. So it's it's always interesting to see that the resistance to change, and then as soon as you go, and then they're like, oh, I can't believe we didn't do this a long time ago. So yeah, that's good to hear. That's for sure.
Yeah, I like in terms of change management, like as working in IT and all that sort of thing, it's like a major part of anything like this, because as you said, like the old system can be completely disjointed or like take hours to do something that should take minutes, but they're used to it. And it's so important, especially when working with bigger organizations, to implement a proper change management plan and not just say, this is how it is, change. You've got to help people, because people work at different speeds as well. People take things in different ways. So it's so important to actually have that plan in place when migrating to and from these different platforms. Definitely. And that's something we do a lot in Apex when we do migrate and work with external teams.
Very good. Couldn't have said it well better myself. That's perfect. So as far as once they're onboarded and up and running, what were some of the goals that were put in place that Viaggio wanted to achieve as an organization using Delenta?
Well, the goals was that, the main goal was to grow the business and make more money. that was as simple as that. And thankfully, Delenta allowed them to do that. Because we had some other things we were doing, we had just started some monthly webinars where the goal was to provide content on those webinars, and they would generate leads to funnel into Delenta. So during basically a Zoom webinar, and then we put the Delenta link in when Debbie did a call to action to, if you want to, she would talk about property, and then she'd be like, if you want to work with me, click on this link, we can get on a 30-minute free call. And it was all about, the focus is always with those guys, the focus is always about delivering as much value as possible and actually helping people. So it's not like, let's just get loads of people in and money, money, money. It was like, right, how can we actually grow this strategically and properly, but also not basically make sure that the students and the clients are still getting the maximum value that they can provide. And Delenta just, again, it just makes it so easy to do that, because you can manage, these sound like little things, but they're not. Like managing a client's task and then their goals, and, and then expecting to remember what you've done with that client after you've gone on and spoken to, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 other clients that day. But with Delenta, you can just go back in straight away. You can see what they've done, what you were talking about. The client also has their own login, so they can see exactly what's going on, and you can discuss it within Delenta. So it was that, it was based, and then behind that, it was ensuring that Delenta integrates with everything really smoothly. And again, that did not take very long. And now so much stuff has been automated. Other people that work within Viaggio are now not having to do that. Those what we would term as busy work, they can carry on doing what they were doing, which is actually help grow and support the business in other ways. And more importantly, Debbie and Jeff, they've just got tons less admin to do, and they can really focus on, what they like to do and what they're good at, which is coaching.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's something we talk a bit about recently is scaling coaching excellence. So that's how we try and put it into a few words. Because it involves a lot of things. From streamlining, like we mentioned earlier, to having the time to actually go out and build your business. It's a very different aspect of it. So I suppose once you got all that done and got it all up and running, and people started using the platform and experiencing all these changes, did you get much feedback from the coaches as to what it's done for them as far as the streamlining process?
Yeah, I mean, Debbie was thrilled to bits. She was really happy. She's the primary coach, and she was just like, everything's just so easy. I click 2 buttons now to set up an appointment. Not 2, but 2 or 3 buttons, and I'm done. And then when I need to actually do the appointment, I can just log in. I'm already in Delenta anyway. I just click the button and Zoom opens. And so she's like, everything just happens, and now I can focus on the student. And then she was like, she could see, as we said earlier, you could see all the goals, everything. Jeff could then see, where the payments and stuff were. And also another thing, which I forgot to mention, is the ability to create and send out contracts. That, again, took away an entire piece of software that they were using, which they don't need to use now. And so it saved them money there as well. And it's all within one system. And that contract thing, it's really, really useful. But yeah, so they kept me on. They were like, look, can you just manage it? And if we need changes or updates and stuff like that, then you can just take care of that. So I now provide that service to them. Just to make sure that they don't have, if anything goes wrong or anything's like, which it hasn't and probably won't, but, if anything, or they just need changes or updates, I just make them for them. And again, as we've said a couple of times, it just allows them to focus on coaching and building those relationships.
That's right. I'm sure they saw a response from their clients too. I mean, a big part of it is that client engagement and client satisfaction. And when you are in that spreadsheet, email, whatever it is, world, WhatsApp and things like that, it can become very disjointed, and clients pick up on it. And they know that something's not right. They know that you're not on top of it and all that sort of thing. So sometimes it doesn't filter down to as far as you from the client, from the coalface as such. But did you get any information about what clients were saying or the feedback that they were getting as a business?
Yeah, it was definitely because the way Delenta set up, it just everything looked so much more professional. And they did say like there was a concern about onboarding older clients. Clients had already been in a certain process. It's like, oh God, they're going to have to like get used to this stuff, this new system. That was an absolute breeze. And they were all really happy because it was just like, oh, everything's here. Like all of my information is in one place. I've got a resources folder with all my documentation in. I've got, I now can just see, I can just log in here and all my stuff. So yeah, they were. I didn't necessarily speak to clients, but Debbie and Jeff were like, yeah, it's changed their experience totally, and they were really, again, that was probably the key. One of the key reasons for Debbie and Jeff being so happy with Delenta was the fact that with their clients there was absolutely no issue. It was about as smooth as it can be, really, in terms of migrating.
Oh, well, that UX or that user experience or client experience is just so important. In this day and age where clients expect to have those good systems in place. I mean, we won 10 years. You would have understood that you were part of a spreadsheet or you were on an email, whereas now it's expected that you do have these, platforms that can deliver this perfectly to them. So it's interesting, I mean, I suppose from a feature point of view, different people find using different features more useful. But was there any of them that they found particularly useful that suddenly changed, where something was something that they always had to do and now it could just be done easily by using Delenta? Was there something in particular?
The contracts were a major one, but there were so many different ones. I mean, the tasks and goals was key. The calendar, just because they used to use like a separate calendar link, which then didn't talk to anything else. So they would have all these people coming through their separate calendar, and then they were just in that calendar. They were in that calendar system, but they weren't going anywhere. So someone had to log into the calendar system, see where they had booked, then go to Zoom, book. They were using like relatively old tech as well. So the stuff wasn't integrated properly, which now you can do.
Too many steps, basically.
Pardon?
Too many steps, basically.
Yes, too many steps. So the calendar was key. Just being able to send that out, having being able to set up packages and then take payments.
Yep.
Just changed everything for them. And then the ability to send the contracts across and have that all signed online. They would, I think at some point they were actually sending them by email to then be printed off and signed and then sent back. So the ability to not have to do that now is amazing.
It takes away the room for error too. Between using all those different tabs, something along the way is gonna, between copying and pasting and whatever it might be, and putting the email together, and then it's to the wrong email address or whatever it might be. There's all sorts of ways that can go wrong. So they probably found that as well, and that clients were happy that there was no error from their side, which is great.
Yeah, and it was all automated as well. Like they didn't have to do anything. The contracts are set up, they ping out, they get signed, done. Jeff doesn't have to go into his old platform, manually send the contract out, hope they sign it, because of course that affects the student experience, because they can't start the coaching until the contract's been signed. So it's like you sort of, if it's gone missing or anything like that, it's like, it just causes problems with the client. Which is, not what Jeff and Debbie want. Everything needs to run smoothly. And also, not something that we have taken advantage of yet, or the Piaggio have, but they will in the future, is the ability to create those on-demand courses.
Oh, yes.
It's just added on in there, and it's like, oh, we could do that from here too. Because we were thinking initially, we're like, oh, so we'll keep the other platform, because we want to do those on demand one-to-many. And then I was like, oh, Delenta does that too, so we don't need to worry about that. So again, you do your one-to-one coaching or one-to-many coaching, but then you can also create those on-demand courses, and they fit in so smoothly that you can create on-demand courses that are related to the coaching and just have it on Delenta for the student to access. So
exactly. The course creators, so powerful, and that just slips straight into your automated stream. So speaking of automation, that's probably the main thing, is it, that helps your clients grow and scale? Is there, that would be the bulk of it, I guess. Is there anything else in there that would be a part of that? Or
well, obviously them not having to manage the system really helps them. having me set up, me and my team in Apex manage and set up the system and then continue to manage it has allowed them to just not worry about it. So that was, for them, was also key. But yeah, then knowing that we're also managing the automation between all the, you know, the APIs between all the systems, and everything's now talking to each other. And they, yeah, actually not having to have so many different platforms and systems that they're paying for. It's not only helped them make money, it's saved them a significant chunk as well.
Yeah, well, that's right. And I mean, I suppose another aspect I was thinking there is the managing multiple coaches.
Yeah.
So has that been a big bonus for them too? So to be able to manage different coaches out of the one platform, has that been a game changer?
Absolutely. Just having the coaches just being able to log into that one place, see everything they need to see, and then being able to manage them from the back end has, yeah, again, it's changed everything for them. And actually before that, they were like, oh, I don't really know if we want to expand with other coaches, because if we've got to do all this with Debbie, what are we going to have to do? You know, we're going to have to do all that again with these coaches, and then we're going to have to hope that they can manage it themselves, which, you know, with the way everything was so disjointed and talk to each other, that would have just been very problematic for the coach. But now it's all automated and everything's done for them. The coach, again, can focus on either generating their own leads and pushing them through the Delenta system, or actually working with their clients without any of the extra admin.
Right, and then off the back of that, you've got your reporting and analytics as well.
Yes.
We touched on.
Yes.
You know, have the guys been taking advantage of that to see which coaches have been doing what, you know, different work and everything like that from a business point of view?
Yeah, the analytics are superb again. Just being able to see how much, for example, how much each coach has made, how many leads are coming in for each coach, how many leads are coming in for Debbie. Like when we started seeing all that information coming in for Debbie alone, it was like, oh wow, there's tons here. We can actually see this dashboard just shows us how much has been made each month. You know, the leads that are coming in, the clients that we've got, who's purchased what. All that stuff, yeah. And then when you add that, when you go to the team level, and you can now drill down into what your teams are doing, and what the other coaches are doing, yeah, it's freaking awesome, to be honest. Yeah. It's really amazing, actually.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a nerd with stats and reporting. Yeah. So when I see all that, I love it. It's good to see.
Yes, yeah.
And you mentioned it earlier. You talked about money.
Yeah.
Obviously, because everything's going under one hood here as such. I mean, we don't have to talk about amounts, obviously, and things like that, but have the guys mentioned to you as far as what it's done from a financial aspect?
Yeah. I'm not really, obviously, can't really go into details, but yeah, they said that they've made more money. They've made more from the coaching since using Delenta, and they've also saved more. So it's like a double whammy, like a win-win. And they've also, not just financially, time. Which is a cost. You know, you factor in time as a cost when you're working on projects. It's like, how much is this time, is this going to cost this person? And I'm paying that person X amount and for a year, but this is going to take them however much time to actually do. So that's going to cost X amount. It's actually saved them so much in personal time cost, because now they've actually freed up that time to go and do other things and do more coaching. They've managed to expand the amount of slots they've got. They're able to focus on generating more leads. So more leads are coming in, more people are joining the coaching. Yeah, it's really, and then they're helping more people succeed, which makes them feel really good and really happy. So yeah, it's been a win all over the place, I think.
Yeah, it's hard to put a cost on time, on your own time, isn't it? I mean, there's nothing like having extra time. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, I mean, as far as the overall experience, I mean, you've had a really good bite at it now, and you know the platform well, and you've used it with clients and things like that. So as far as the overall thing in terms of use and support and results and usability and everything like that, you know, what would you say about Delenta overall?
I would say it's a really good system. I would say, I mean, I would recommend it to absolutely anyone starting a coaching business. Like, even if it's just a small, you know, because you factor in, Now, what I like about Delenta, many things I like about Delenta, but what I do like about it is the different subscription levels take into account maybe the different levels of coaching. You know, you've probably got a coaching business with multiple coaches. Yeah, they can go on the team version, but if it's just you're just starting out, and you think, oh, I don't want to spend money on these systems, I'll just do it like analog manually. Actually, don't do that. Get a really cheap subscription with Delenta, a really good value subscription, and because it will save you so much time, and you can then just focus on the coaching instead of trying to juggle all these other plates. It's like, no, it's just one plate that's spinning well by itself, and it will do everything for you once it's set up. And also, you know, where we come in that regard is we can help you set that up. So we can then remove you further from it and say, look, we will work with you. Apex, the team that I run, will work with you to set everything up. So it's all set up correctly. It's all working as brilliantly as it can within your other systems. So yeah, no, I think Delenta is an absolutely phenomenal piece of kit. And yeah, I'd highly recommend it to absolutely anyone.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's great to hear you're so happy and you've had an awesome experience, you know, and, you know, there's more to come. You know, our roadmap is super, you know.
Yeah.
And, speaking of the future, you know, I mean, how do you see Delenta sort of supporting and helping growth and success into the future? And do you see some options there as well?
In terms of what, for me or for
Well, a bit of both, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, mainly clients, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll go clients first anyway.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that for the clients, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I'm definitely going to recommend it to any client that I deal with who has coaching as part of their business. I think it just, in terms of Viaggio, it's a great platform. We've now got what we consider the foundation the solid foundation, which just allows them to just carry on, grow and grow and grow. We've got new coaches coming on all the time. So yeah, we are building, well, the hope is to expand to, there is a certain level they want to get to, and having Delenta as part of their tech stack has allowed them to actually, you know, get there much quicker than they thought they were going to. So yeah, I see Delenta, you know, it's not just, you know, Delenta can really help you grow and really scale, not just sort of cottage industry, but actually proper coaching business with, you know, 10, 15 coaches. You can do that in Delenta. So yeah, incredible scope for growth. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what's coming next from the team.
Yeah, very good. And from an Apex point of view, you're probably looking for other clients that you can get this into. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we realized that actually we could provide a really good service. There are a lot of small businesses out there, a lot of coaching businesses out there who are probably using, for no fault of their own, it's just the way things happen when you're starting a business. You know, probably using a bit disjointed because their focus is on coaching, their focus is on delivering good quality coaching content. Our focus is to come in, enable clients to carry on doing that whilst building the platform out for them, and then present, and then potentially, if they would like, managing it for them. But yeah, building it out for them and then training them on it, and then going from there. So yeah, it's a win-win-win, I feel, all round. Coaches win, their coaching clients win, and at the same time, you know, we can help as well. We can help elevate the coaching businesses.
Yeah. And
then Delenta as well. Everyone wins.
Exactly. Win-win-win.
Big circle of winning.
Exactly right. Well, look, that's great, mate. Look, I'm delighted to hear about the experience you've had and that your clients have had with using Delenta. You know, it's a super platform, and there's so much potential for coaches in there to use it in the capacity they need to.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, really that streamlining aspect, the ability to take away the 7 tabs, as we were saying, all housed under one tab. I think once coaches really, as we say, take the plunge and, you know, make that change happen, very quickly they'll start to see the benefits of what Delenta can bring. And I mean, any final thoughts for you? Is there any last things you wanted to say, or you're happy enough?
No, I'm pretty good. Firstly, I wanted to say actually thank you for inviting me on. That's very kind of you. And it's been a pleasure to work with the Delenta team, and am looking forward to working with you guys going forward. But yeah, no, thank you very much to all of you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for your time and for coming on and being so straightforward with everything you've experienced with Delenta. It's great. And we're really looking forward to working with you well into the future. So thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Ollie. Cheers.
All right. Cheers.